Now we're going to be pulling into the station here with Lisa Saurs. We're going to be talking about finding your fit. Where do all the operations people go? Lisa, come on in here.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, no problem. Perfect. So let me bring your slides on. And Lisa, I'll let you take it away. We're getting a little bit of feedback from my voice coming through your microphone. So you don't adjust anything. I'm going to just slide off stage. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Lisa. Lisa, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm turning my fan off on my side too to make sure the feedback's not coming from me. Welcome to my talk. Happy to have you here. Hoping I can share some information that's useful. As you can see from my cover slides here, I am the Associate Director of Cybersecurity Recruiting for TBG Cyber. We are a division of the Backrack Group, which is a recruiting firm that's been around for 50 years. TBG Cyber started up this summer. Our recruiting team's been together 20 years. So you want to talk about finding somewhere you fit. My business partner and I work together now at 6 different places. We've spent 18 years together in business. It's really cool when you can find somewhere that you really love how people work and they do the kind of work you love to do, which is this. I started in tech recruiting in 2005. I got hired off a monster.com resume right out of college. I've probably placed into the 4 figures with folks conservatively saying since then into tech jobs. I started actually as a network and systems engineering recruiter. And so I'm probably kind of particularly well qualified to speak on this just because I actually came from network recruiting and now I'm in security recruiting. I volunteer a ton. You have to if you love this industry because it really, the orgs that we love need our help and need our support. I'm the CMO for Raices and social media for Weesis. To say that 10 times fast, my daily tongue twister. I was one of the core folks from Day of Security, yada, yada, yada. So I got a background in marketing. I got a background in recruiting. I live in the middle of Illinois, kind of middle of nowhere. I'm about 3 hours from Chicago. So I get involved with a lot of the Chicago events. Shout out to anyone else who's in the Midwest or somewhere else where there is just no representation for us. And has to go, to the city to get your networking in. I'm a first generation college graduate. My folks were both in the Navy right out of high school. And I am the first person in my family, not only to get my bachelor's, but my master's. And I'm the first person in my entire extended family, minus one uncle and one auntie on my mom's side, who had a tech career. Those folks lived in Seattle. So it's no surprise they wound up working in tech. My uncle literally has worked for Microsoft for 30 years. And so the way I approach this is that I want to see people get into cyber one person at a time, layering on the right skills, the right training, the right networking opportunity, how to transition their skills, how to move ahead, and where to go from where they are. So let's get into it. Who are they? It's the network ops people I said in the top. What does that mean? So as in my career as a recruiter, I come across tons of people who want to be in cybersecurity and aren't yet, who do some sort of technology adjacent role and know that it's not rocket science. It's got to be possible to make this pivot into cyber. There's got to be a way that I can put together the skills that I have with the skills that are being sought, with the sorry, I'm getting so many messages, with the skills that are being sought, with the jobs that are available. And at the end of the day, the jobs that are available are the only jobs that matter because we got to pay our bills. And so setting yourself up for future success is a big theme of my conversation with folks that are sub 5 years in their career. As a recruiting service, most of the orgs that I work with that want to hire and use a specialized talent recruiting agency are looking for leadership, to be honest. They want to, do as much recruiting as they can on their own, which is why I try to do this work in the community, because as a recruiting professional, I am not able to facilitate a lot of these placements. I say all the time that if I could spend all my time placing people that are breaking into cyber, I would do that. I genuinely don't know anyone who can be profitable doing that. Even nonprofits that are grant funded struggle to get people roles. I'm talking to a major university in Pennsylvania who got a grant from the state. They have 12 open roles and they had 800 applications and they can't find enough companies to sign up. And so that's like my little activism soapbox moment, which is like everyone who's under the power of my voice and who hears this in the replay has a platform. You are online, you have social media that you can then call out this problem, that there aren't enough roles, there aren't upskilling opportunities, there aren't transitional positions, there isn't a national movement to get people into cybersecurity jobs, and we need one. We have millions of open positions. I'm just one chick from recruiting that spends 100% of my professional time immersed in cybersecurity jobs. So what would I know about what we need in these teams, except that almost all of my conversations with candidates who are looking for a new job are not because they're not paid enough. It's not because they hate their company. It's not because there's some jerk in their team. It's because the company doesn't have organizational buy-in for cyber. They're not upskilling. There isn't a retention plan that keeps these people involved, interested, loyal, learning, right? We're a very creative crowd, InfoSec and cybersecurity. We're perpetual learners. And if you're not, you might want to think about that, because this is an industry that has constant evolution. Every single day, there's something new that's happening. You don't always have to know what it is. You know, you're able to carve a lane out. But you have to be able to keep up with it and know where to go for information. The previous speaker, I was putting on my powder while he was talking, and he made a point about ask anyone in your org to help you get into this. And he's talking about GRC, but pretty much every org will, there will be somebody that you can find. They're not all full of, people that are going to wall you out. So if you're one of these people, or someone who's one of these people, it is not very difficult to pivot into cybersecurity, especially when you've got people like Gerald and the Simply Cyber group, his entire podcast network, huge YouTube presence, thousands of videos available, all completely free, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he's not the only one. He's one of the best ones. But there's a lot of folks out there creating this content that want to give it to you and put it in your hands, and they're not charging for it. You can do it in your own time, right? And this is what it results in. So where am I? This is cyberseek.org. If you don't know the site, get with it. If you're trying to break in or move around in your career in cyber, you got to know about these folks. Not only are they partnered with CISA and NIST and all the important folks, but they also use census data to create these facts and statistics, and they make good little screen grabs for talks and stuff. So the networking path in cyberseek, you can pick IT, systems, network, software, 5 or 6. They've actually expanded that over time. It's been really cool to see this site grow and develop, and they just added a ton of new functionality, which is cool. Definitely recommend you go play with it. But if you click on the networking career path, it'll give you this data. Some of the common job titles. Each of these is expandable. You can click and see what the actual job description. They have like a recommended job creation thing through CompTIA now, which is new since the last time I was on there, which is pretty cool. Oops, sorry. Definitely well past time for that. I thought it was interesting to see the statistics here. A lot of bachelor's degree jobs in the networking field, but I bet a lot of these people are actually not working in the field they got degrees in. I don't meet that many people that have a bachelor's degree in networking. I mean, they exist, but it's usually going to be in computer science, cybersecurity, something else like that. So kind of interesting. It's just betting that's a catch-all. I take a recruiter's eye to all these data as I look at them. CCNA is still going to help you get in the door. Certs are never required. Neither is degrees, especially if you've been in the field for a while. I understand this audience might be folks that haven't done this role yet, and we've actually got a talk this afternoon through NCL that's free. You can join, called Hack My Resume. If you're really, really new and you just don't even know how to put it on a resume, you come see us this afternoon. Not to peel folks off, Gerald, sorry. Top skills to add to get you advancement. So kind of funny to me to see that Python falls in the first position, and this exactly proves my point that, Python as a language in a network admin, network engineering job, probably not like one of the main things you're doing, right? You're probably not doing a lot of coding or API integrations, administration. However, if you want to pivot and you want to dig into your career and advance that thing forward and move beyond a network engineer to a network security engineer, or insert other title here, you got to be able to layer these skills on. So let's roll into the network part of it first. I'm trying to be mindful of time too. Network analysts become engineers, become architects. Now, I already saw in the comments, and I flipped over to my slides because I don't want to get sucked into reading the comments. Someone said, well, I don't really want someone who's a tech support person to go into security. Okay, feel that way. You feel however you want, bro. But a lot of people want to make that move. So I'm here to help explain how to help that happen as a skills, layering, and kind of what that progression might look like from a recruiter's point of view. Because I'll tell you, once I'm talking to someone who can do one of these senior level jobs that these orgs are falling all over themselves to hire for, you're going to need people to come behind you. No one is an island. No one works alone. We can't all, do everything all the time and be everything to everyone, right? You got to have team behind you, and it's goodwill for the industry. I mean, I want people who want to be there. I don't care what skills they came from, right? So here's an example of one. I just picked some random ones out. This seems pretty cool. I'm a baseball fan. Go Dodgers. 140K is not bad scratch for an entry-level salary for this. They are looking for mid to senior person, so this is by no means a junior job. The principal should give it away. But this is a job that a network admin could realistically obtain in 3 or 4 years, maybe 2 or 3 years in the right environment. So we're not talking about 10 or 15 years out in your career. We're talking about making strategic moves that are going to point your feet in the direction where you want to go. That's what I like to tell people. You don't have to know where you're going. You're not buying your forever home here. You're looking for a job. You just have to point yourself in some direction, call a shot, and then take it. And then when you miss, you take another one, and another, and another. And then maybe it's a lot later, in which case maybe calibrate along the way, right? If you're missing 100% of your shots, there might be something wrong. It's not something that you would replicate to do again. If you have a 100% fail rate, I would probably rethink your methodology, right? But you're not going to get 100% fail. You're going to get people that talk to you, especially if you go to someone who, for instance, maybe works here, or maybe you know someone that applied, or, LinkedIn is really cool for poking around and finding other people who are at their org. So why not go try and talk to the CTO or the network admins? Ask them how they got their job there, what they do, right? VP of engineering for Major League Baseball. That might be aiming a little too high. Okay, let's roll back. So, right, a network analyst can become a network engineer. These can map to jobs, which, by the way, if you're a network analyst right now, the job that you can do 3 years from now may not even be invented yet. That's where we are with AI and machine learning, and even cloud in some cases, and some of these other, auxiliary, I would call them security support roles that are backing up the applications and the platforms that are feeding into the larger program. Some of those jobs don't exist yet because the tools haven't been invented. I think that's super cool. And that's where being a perpetual learner can really serve you well, because you're going to know about that stuff when it first emerges. If you start learning AI and ML now, as at this level in your career, in 2 years, you put the two together and you are a principal. You are the most knowledgeable person in the room because you had a vision, you called your shot, and then you went for it. And maybe you didn't land there as quick as you wanted. Maybe it didn't look like, a great engineering job right out of the gate. Could be any number of things, right? But you at least tried. And that's really all you can do when it comes to job searching, because it's not a sure thing ever. Let's talk about systems a little bit. Let me see if there's any questions yet over here. Straight cash, homie. I don't know what that is. See, this is what happens when I look at the comments. The systems admins, systems analysts, into an engineer, into an architect, or maybe not. Maybe you're a sysadmin that is really also kind of handy with code. And then that Python comes into play, right? Maybe you're a sysadmin that's really into AI and into prompt engineering and doing jobs that require frameworks and creating frameworks or creating automations, creating tables and tools that your team can use, and that you can build on that skill in order to create the job. You know, you kind of can invent the job that you want. Um, the future tech roles are just now being created. You know, these AI supportive, cloud-based security, you know, there's certainly a lot of them that exist now, but a lot of them are really new. The skills are something that, you know, they have to hire senior people because they don't exist elsewhere. And then good news for all you people that aren't, you know, 20 years of experience in, once those people have their jobs, then who do they hire? Guess who's next? Right? Like, we're not going to just go invent new people. We've got to train people. We've got to upskill. So a system skill set can take you in a lot of directions. This is one that I really like. The product route, being able to be an integrations person that can create, maybe they'll see that I talked about them and let me work with them, being an integrations person that can actually create interdisciplinary strategic plans, create go-to-market strategy. These are not technical skills. You know, you have to have technical know-how to create the right kind of strategy for a technology-driven company, obviously. But at a point, you know, you're just picking up general business skills here and applying them to a role with a foundational skill set of networking and systems engineering. Okay. So this is a bona fide security job, network and security senior product manager. That's a good job. It's a $200K job, right? That came from someone who was a network or a systems admin at the beginning of their career. And that doesn't mean it was 15 years ago. They only wanted 4 years of experience. So here's one that's a C++ Linux senior cyber software engineer. Again, coming up through that systems and development track, that almost more of a software development, which I didn't have a slide for those folks because my title was network ops, but you get the point. Right? Working on PKI frameworks, working in Linux kernel modules. Like, a lot of these are transferable skills. Again, they're technical skills. You're going to have to get into an environment that's going to give you the exposure. They're going to struggle with that one. That's niche. But that's why it's senior, right? So at that point, then you layer it on and you say, okay, I'm a network security engineer and I've got to go learn FIPS, you know, and that's where you really make yourself into a indispensable employee as a senior. That's a whole different talk. So senior application security engineer, these jobs are super cool. You see how much action it gets, over 50 applications. Granted, it's been up a while. Don't pay too much attention to this, by the way. If you see a job you like, just apply for it. We get so many applicants that are not qualified. Do not let that get in your head. I hear it all the time. People, well, they had 200 applicants. And I'm like, yeah, and they probably called 3. So don't let that number scare you off. Spending time with the stacks, getting up to speed on our controls, right? Spending time with IT, R&D. These are soft skills. These are cross-functional soft skills layered onto a foundational skill set of compliance, networking, maybe some programming, right? Every one of these jobs, they came from somewhere. And ignore this stuff too. We would love to see a CISSP or a, you know, OSCP. That's great. I mean, those are very senior roles or very senior certs. They're expensive to get on your own. So again, don't give too much credit to these job postings. These are Santa's wish list. These are what I want for Christmas. These are not necessarily the best, you know, most accurate representation of who's going to actually end up employed in that position. There's a huge difference sometimes. You know, as a recruiter, we try to get as close as we can, but it's not a perfect science. And then the last one, as far as the subject matter areas that folks can come from and where they can go, this one's really close to my heart. And the reason why is because my husband does help desk. He's been with a medical school for 5-ish years. He was Best Buy Geek Squad, Tactical Geek Squad prior to that. So we got geeks in the family here. I've got my Clever Girl shirt on today. So we're representing our Jurassic Park fandom. But help desk, IT, tech support, like this is what I live in my house. This is the type of stuff we like to do in our free time. We go to B-sides together, stuff like that. And he loves his job and he loves his team. And for me, working in security, I would love to see him make more money. I would love to see him be more well respected. I would love to see him work with cooler technology, right? Like, I'm his wife. I want the best for him. And so I've actually put a lot of thought into this particular pivot, and what it could look like and what skills someone would want to have or lean into in order to make this pivot. The most sort of basic, you could say, the most common, or the most available role is a security analyst to someone who's entry level. But I say that with a big grain of salt, because you want to think about being like a half step outside the crowd. How do you differentiate yourself so that you're not just one of the 1,000 security analysts, right? One of those 800 people going for one of those 12 jobs, which is like, how do you even start qualifying people when you've got 8x the applicants for every position? So these roles are hard to find. I'm going to be honest. A security analyst job, just like breaking into any other field, the more you're willing to do, I won't put it negatively and say debase yourself, because hopefully you're not working somewhere like that. If you are, please come see me. But if the more you're willing to do, going into the office, working on overnights, working on calls, picking up the shifts, whatever that looks like at this org, the more of a chance you're going to have to land that security analyst job. That being said, there's a lot of other kinds of jobs you could target to break into cyber, to pivot from NetOps, to go into a cyber specific specialization. And you don't have to just go after the security analyst. I encourage you to not only go after it, because you are really running with the pack. Like, think about the Boston Marathon, all that herd of people all together at the same time. You want to be like running on the side street over here, right? So they can find you. And that's the one place I will say the numbers of the applicants on those LinkedIn jobs can help you, because if you see they don't have a lot of applications, bingo, that's a good place to go. So some of the other places you can go as a pivoter, as a tech support, customer service, help desk, IT person, who is whatever level of skills that is. And I would say you can start anytime. Nothing holds you back. You can realistically expect to get traction on a job change or a pivot. Probably wouldn't try less than a year in. Employers just don't like it. They don't want to see someone hop around every year, even every 2 years. If you can make it 2 years, if you can manage and you're not being underpaid horribly and disrespected, stick it out, but get your plan ready, get your resume ready, get your network together. Again, come see me this afternoon if you need more tips on how to do that stuff. But how do we, target these jobs as someone without the experience? It's the layering. It's the finding the half step to the side. So a lot of times I hear with this kind of stuff, I don't want to do sales. Well, I get that. No one likes sales. I don't like sales, and I'm a salesperson, right? No one wants to have to be a salesy person. And you know how you avoid that? You create a network. And so sales looks like having a phone call with somebody. Sales looks like making a partnership and creating opportunities with other companies to provide services to them of whatever flavor it is that you're selling, right? And so in this part, an MSSP, managed security service provider. Tenable's well-known, great company. I live near Chicago, so this one caught my eye. All right, maybe I'll meet him at B-sides this week. Shout out. What up, Tenable? Come see me. Cyber is in your DNA. I love that. That's why I grabbed this, because this, more than any other thing, as I'm looking at junior, entry, break into, new to, upskill, call them whatever you want, right? The folks that are, we're not talking right out of college, or maybe we are. You worked during college. I did. That's legitimate. But we're not talking people with no professional experience. We're talking people who have done some of the footwork to prepare themselves, who have done some of the technology work to upskill, at least to put themselves in the right lane. And then they have this passion, this drive from within that really makes them want to do it. They want to secure their spot. They want to be in it. They subscribe to the podcast. They subscribe to the newsletters. They do all of this stuff, right? Boot camps, mentoring. I mean, mentoring gets thrown around a lot, and I really encourage people to slow down on that and really think about that. That is a real skill. It is a powerful thing to have a mentor and a sponsor that will bring your name up in a room full of people that do not know you and bring opportunities to your doorstep. It is rare. If you can find that, you need to give back to that relationship and develop with that person. As I mentioned before, the prior speaker, there are lots of people who are out here that will sponsor, that will advocate. And I don't mean sponsor like the H-1B and the visa sponsor. I mean sponsor like a person. Like, this is my homie. This is my person. I'm bringing them with me. They're my plus one if I get an extra ticket. I'm sending them the link to my talks. I'm bringing them to the luncheon that's the fancy thing that, you know, ISSA Chicago is paying for on a yacht, right? Like, that's true story. And the student got to come for free. So make friends, right? These people pay for these professional associations and memberships that give them a lot of free stuff they can't use. So they're looking for friends that are junior people. It's a mutually beneficial situation to find someone like that that's actually going to have your back and bring you, you know, to the table. And then obviously your drive and ambition. You know, your career is not the job you have, it's the job you work to have. That is under your control. There are so many things that we deal with that are outside of our control, especially in recruiting. And the one thing you can control is your own drive, your own ambition, your own curiosity, your own, you know, interest in how do I take what I have, layer on one skill or half a skill set and become a hybridized version of it, so that when I apply to a job, when I apply to a job, I can do all of it minus 30 or 40%, right? You're coming in ready, you're trainable, you're somebody that this company is going to invest in. So you're going to be loyal because they put something into you. So you're going to put your time into them. That's the way hiring makes a really great match for a long-term job, rather than kind of just going for the next thing. You know, putting some strategy into your own situation, being able to give your elevator pitch, and then, you know, finding a situation where you get the job, the company gets to hire, it all fits together, everyone's getting what they want. That's when it's serendipity. That's when you're going to really find people that are willing to help you, because that your message is clear, your intention is clear, your direction, you know, is knowable, your summary or objective on your resume is clear. Even if you're not saying I want this title, which I actually don't recommend doing, you should target a field. Then at least people know how to help you, right? You got to be vocal and be your own, in the driver's seat of your own story, because it's your life, it's your job. We don't know how to help you if you don't tell us you need our help, your help rather. And you know, we are out here. So I think that's my time. I appreciate everyone letting me talk and ramble. I hope it was helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And let me go full screen right here for a second. Just so if you guys want, screen cap Lisa's contact information here so you can connect with her. Definitely connect with her on LinkedIn at a minimum. Lisa, there were a couple questions in chat. I would ask if you can go over to the Discord server and just answer some Q&A. I want to quickly just thank you for being here and let you know that what you just did, it was really, really impactful and added massive value to people. People are talking about the terms spoon feeding us what we need. Was in here talking about the importance of why we're doing this, not just doing it as a list and the mapping. Having those really thoughtful things about the career is, you know, what you're working towards, and not, you know, the role you currently have, and not defining yourself by a specific role.
Yeah.
Just everything about it was a fantastic talk. So Lisa, I am speaking for the 328 people that are in chat right now. Thank you for sharing your time and your experience with us. Please, if you have follow-up questions, which I know many of you did, and we couldn't get to them all, Christopher Young, Darius Cater, etc., please connect with Lisa over on the Discord. You can either use the general chat, Lisa, or the track one open chat is voice. Okay. So your choice, but we're going to send Lisa off to the green room. Thank you so much, Lisa, for everything you do.
Hi, everyone.